Merely a few hours away now from India's home series against New Zealand kicking off, and obviously there's a lot of excitement among Indian fans. Don't forget, India whitewashed Sri Lanka 3-0 in the last ODI series that ended just a few days back. So obviously confidence is very, very high, but going into the New Zealand series, India will be missing a couple of key players, or rather more than a couple of key players from that squad. Don't forget, beforehand we knew KL Rahul and Akshar Patel will not be available. Now Shreyas Iyer has also been ruled out. And speaking in the press conference ahead of, on the eve of the series, Rohit Sharma has had some interesting things to say about how exactly it is the team will be plugging said holes and what exactly it is that they'll be looking for in this series, as well as a few interesting thoughts on, how and when it is that the World Cup, the ODI World Cup matches should be played. So without further ado, let's quickly delve into what exactly it is that Rohit said, and actually could give us a few hints about what the team composition could be going into the first ODI against New Zealand. On Ishan Kishan, he said something very simple. He said that, look, Ishan will be batting in the middle order, and I'm very glad that he could get a run here in this series after that fine knock in Bangladesh. Now obviously Rohit is referring to the double hundred that Ishan Kishan scored in Bangladesh. Unfortunately, since then he's kind of had to wait his chance, at least in ODI cricket, because in the last 3 ODIs that India played, Shubman Gill was the first choice opener alongside Rohit himself. So obviously Kishan has had to be patient, but most people kind of knew that Kishan would be playing, considering KL Rahul was their first choice wicket keeping option too, and that with KL now missing, it just stood to reckon that Ishan Kishan would in fact be coming into the squad. And even Vikram Rathore had previously hinted that Ishan might just very well be a middle order option in case the team management feels that's where he will have to fit in. So it does seem very likely that that's the direction we're heading in. Rohit himself has revealed as much. It also does show that the team will be keeping their faith in Shubman Gill, which is understandable considering he had a very good series. But beyond just Gill, who had a very good series, another man who had a very good series was Mohammad Siraj, and Rohit had a few interesting things to say on Siraj as well, who does seem will in fact be one of the first names on the team sheet when it comes out tomorrow. He said that Siraj has improved on all facets of his game. He has worked on his death bowling and also his ability to swing the ball both ways. Keeping him fresh will be key. Now obviously Siraj is someone who's not just a regular for India in ODIs but also in Test cricket, and Rohit said this in the context of the fact that after the New Zealand series you'll be having Australia visiting, and of course a 4-test Border Gavaskar Trophy series. So he had stressed the importance on ensuring that Siraj remains fit, because he's someone that not only who has been doing very well in ODIs and Test, but they potentially see a 3 format player in him as well. So he did say that he's been bowling very well, he's shown a lot of improvement, and keeping him fresh going forward will in fact be one of the key things. Now obviously, and Rohit had something very interesting to say about the bowling beyond just Siraj, and it could open the door for one particular bowler who a lot of people have been clamoring to see in the playing 11, Shardul Thakur. Why? That's because Rohit said that at number 8 or number 9 we want one player who can potentially bat, and that's why we've got Shardul Thakur. His ability to bat can give us an edge. Now this is something that a lot of people have been arguing for, saying that Shardul is a more than handy lower order bat and should be in the team for one of those very reasons, because the Indian team's batting at times tends to look a little short, because you're not batting beyond number 7. Once you get past number 7, who more often than not is Akshar Patel, you're reaching what becomes a very long tail. Having someone like Shardul could very much mitigate that, because Shardul is more than just a player who can, tonk a long ball. He can settle in there for a while as well and get a few useful runs. So obviously, as Rohit says, Shardul is someone who they see in the squad being in among one of those plans. In fact, not just for his bowling, and don't forget, despite his economy being problematic, he's very much a wicket taker, but also due to his ability to bat lower down the order and shore up at some depth to the Indian batting lineup, which, as I said, at times can look a little fragile, especially if you run through the top order. The lower order can be left with a little too much to do. Now, beyond just, of course, the cricketing matters, Rohit was quizzed on something very interesting when it comes to, start times in, of course, the World Cup, which will be taking place in India this year, but during the onset of winters, which is, of course, a time when the dew factor starts to be very prevalent. And so, therefore, there is a worry among a lot of people that, maybe the matches will get a little predictable, just like they were in the 2021 T20 World Cup, where the mantra was simply win the toss, win the match, because you'd win the toss, choose to bat second, bat when the dew was in. The conditions became easy for the batsmen and much tougher for the bowlers. in that regard, Rohit's actually said something which, if considered, could very well end up changing that. He said that, look, it's a World Cup here and you don't want to be compromising on the toss. The broadcasters should decide what time the game starts, but I like the idea of an early start. Now, obviously, one of the reasons cricket has moved towards day-night broadcasts is to actually increase the viewability of the matches, because again, 50 overs through the day, you want it to be at a time where you can, at least spectators can be watching good chunks of the match rather than just during a certain time period or not miss out on watching it at all. Rohit, however, on saying that he'd like an early start, maybe potentially could be forcing the broadcasters to think in that direction, because again, it's in India. If it's a World Cup, you best believe people will be turning up regardless of what time the match starts. But whether or not this can happen is something that we'll only know. But we do know that if it's a day match, then the toss or the dew factor will be a lot less, and therefore really takes the idea of the toss out of the game. Right now, though, again, the winning the toss can actually have an advantage in terms of winning the match, because again, don't forget, in India, winters is still very much on, and you'll be playing in towns where the dew factor can very well be a thing, and you won't really want that. Even though these ODI series don't have much meaning in terms of India as far as qualification or anything of the sort is concerned, they'd still want to be winning, and going into the World Cup, you'd want to maybe eliminate this idea of winning the toss and winning the match. And that's it for this particular video. Rohit said a lot of interesting things. If you feel that there was something which he said which also deserves a mention, you can let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy our work, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can also go ahead, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and don't forget to download the SportsTech app. Thank you all once again for joining us here. I hope to see